Yeah.
How are you today?
Very good.
Good. Shout out to Philly.
Go birds. It's been a fun time, not gonna lie. I really like that you made this documentary. I mean, it could have been like two more parts, but I really like that you approached this subject matter. Can we talk a little bit? One of the major things is even though there have been a lot of um more men that have been number one on the call sheet, was there some discussion talking about pay disparity, which is really a huge component of this because I think we all remember Taraji discussing it, Color Purple, but it's been an on conversation. I know I've written about it as a journalist. Can you talk about that aspect of it? Shola, can you start for me, please?
Sure, absolutely. All the women talked about pay disparity. And we do towards the end of the film bring it up. It's like, what are the things you want to change, right? It's a film in and of itself for sure. And what we were trying to do with this is give an arc of how somebody becomes number one on the call sheet and what that means, being a star, right? And it means navigating those very tricky differences that are baked into the system. And it's a legacy we have to deal with. And these women certainly are dealing with it.
Yeah. And you know what? I love Taraji because whether it's talking about Project 2025 or pay disparity or mental health, she's an extraordinary spokesperson. She uses her platforms in really productive ways, and I really give her a lot of credit for that.
One of the other things is obviously this was done, I'm gathering, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, before we started having this, I mean, probably on the beginning side of the attack of diversity, equity, inclusion, but probably was completed before we're having, the snowball effect of this right now. What else do you want? Because I feel like there's also a separate discussion. One of the things that I do love that was addressed, I mean, the Academy's about to be 100 years and there's only been one Black woman, right? What conversation do you want to, because again, we're always having a conversation amongst us. We're not asking the people that need to be asked the conversation. And, I mean, I vote on an award show. I'm pretty sure you guys probably vote on some prevalent award show, but we're still only 13% of the population. What is it that you want our white counterparts to come out of this? Because I'm always like, who's going to have the courage pill other than the Black journalists to ask some of these white creative studio executives, who are some of them married to Black women, and we still are like, what is it? What do you want them to hear? And not just say, oh, this is amazing. We always get the hand clap and it's amazing, but no action.
Right. Well, I mean, look, I mean, I've been in this business for a little while now, and the fact is, there has been improvement, right? Just in my own lifetime, there has been improvement. And when you study people like Sidney Poitier, I did a movie about him, it's like the things he had to face are things that are unimaginable for our generation, right? But that doesn't mean, oh, we're all good, you know? And what I ask for is, I mean, here's the thing. There's a rap, they say, look, it's not about black or white, it's about green. You go, really? Because I mean, there's a great line that Daniel Kaluuya says in my movie. He goes, look, if you look at the population of the planet, right, we're not minorities. There's nothing minor about us. We're major. So as the business becomes a global business, making entertainment product that reflects that global diversity is the smartest business move to make.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's go
I
ahead,
do
I'm
want to
sorry.
add to that question because I think Reggie is absolutely right. I mean, there were times when you would be interviewing three women who, right? Like, but
Mhm.
there were 17 and we didn't get everybody who's been number one on the call sheet in films. So it's pretty extraordinary. So I do think as a Black woman, there's no other period in time that I would rather live than now, because it only gets worse the more you look back. I do not have historic nostalgia. You know what I mean? Foot on neck, not interested. But I think that one of the things is, particularly for the women's film, that was important is the context. You have to understand the context of the criticism. So people might hear Taraji or Hallie or somebody being critical of the fact that it's only one, but when you put it in the context and you show the history of the way the Academy Awards has worked and who wins and who doesn't, you start to see a narrative about Black women in American culture and history that these women are trying to break. They can be the lead. They can be the love interest. They are beautiful. That's a period,
100%.
right?
Oh,
Period.
point blank, period, 100%. Reggie, let's piggyback on that. Because one of the things I always strive as somebody that was not born in America, I'm Black, but I'm not African American, I'm Brazilian. And that Black people are global, you know, opening up the conversation. How did you go? But obviously Idris and Daniel, but you also see someone like Omar Sy, who is of French background. And some of the best Black films in the last couple of years, in my opinion, humbly, have come from the international sector. So how do we have this conversation as Black people as we are creating in these, you know, in these spaces to build more community instead of having them, well, you're not as Black as I am and you're not that, in order to help move the whole thing forward. So how do we do that?
I'm right with you. I mean, if there's anything that's very poisonous, and and it's always sort of bubbling under, but it's really exploded in the last, 10 or 15 years, is that, Black American versus Black British versus whatever. And it's like, what are you doing? I mean, I grew up in a Pan-African era, right? Where, I mean, when you say you're from Brazil, I grew up learning capoeira from, at Catherine Dunham's studio in my hometown of East St. Louis. So I was always acutely aware of our global presence, and I took great comfort in that, right? That I like Daniel Kaluuya, I never felt small. I never felt minor because I knew that, my family was a global family. So the part of it is just resetting back to that mindset, which we've had from W.E. Du Bois to, I mean, we have this long history of Pan-African thinking, and now, and I think it's not a surprise, as Black folk become in more positions of power, they're like, well, how can we undermine this power that they are building toward? Okay, let's put people against each other. So peep the game, reject the game, and let's play our own game. Right?
100%.
That's just smart.
Absolutely. I was just going to add, Gabrielle Union told this incredible story that didn't make the film about going on her first global press tour. And she was like, she believed, okay, Black doesn't travel across the world. And she gets on tour, and I think it's a Will Smith movie or whatever. He's given her pointers because he's the one who really broke that open for so many actors. And people are shouting out about all the roles she's had, because while the business is not acknowledging, there's bootleg that is happening across the world because folks are hungry for a sense of themselves, and we are everywhere. We are everywhere. I just want to actually add one
bootleg don't lie. Bootleg don't lie.
My dad was the first Black professor hired by Columbia University in 1969. Well, no, he was the first with tenure. And he's one of the architects of diaspora studies. He's from Trinidad and Tobago. He believed his mother was practically untouched, so West African, and his father mixed with everybody. And he always said, you Afros are all messed up. You know what I mean? The Africans have it right. They have a sense of self, the Caribbean, et cetera, blah, 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 blah. So I just want to point out that the more that we as Black Americans, and I use Black intentionally because we're from all over the world, that we see each other as part of the same tribe, the more powerful we'll be. And it goes back to Daniel Kaluuya, we're not minor, we're major, bro. We're major, bro, he says.
Absolutely. And last question is one of the things is also ongoing in conversation, but I think kind of ties into how we can elevate each other is, there is still like, as somebody that has worked in media a long time and covered film and television, what can be done to better improve us getting access to each other? Because there's still this thing where some of our people, we love them. I'm gonna hold your hand here for a second, that feel as though they have to skip Black media, Black journalists, and they have to do mainstream. When unfortunately, some of those mainstream spaces don't always understand our art, don't understand our community, and are still not educated enough to have and highlight what you're doing. Like everything you're talking about, we can translate to other industry. What do you feel like the communication has to be a lot of better? Because there is some gatekeeping being done, and it's always like it's like a hamster. It's the studio. It's a person's personal publicist. It's this, it's that. What can be done so we can help elevate and most importantly, help our fellow artists get the attention to the project because there's no point in making it if no one gets to see it, no one gets to enjoy it so that you can get the bigger budgets, hire more people, and we can have more Black talent being number one on a call sheet.
Yeah, I mean, look, and when you talk about all, people finger point in different reasons, and, sometimes it is different reasons, right? Sometimes it is the person, sometimes it is the publicist, the personal publicist versus studio publicist or whatever. But I mean, but this movie that we're talking about is an example of the opposite of that, right? When Jamie Foxx and Kevin Hart call Shola and say, hey, let's all work together making this movie, that's Black power, right? And and we're here talking to you, and we've been talking to Black journalists throughout this process because I know that we all have to empower each other. Now, some people just go, I don't want to do that much press. I only want to do 3 outlets or whatever. So there's all kind of things that may happen, and I don't want to make some kind of broad explanation. But I will say this generation of Black movie star is more conscious and more supportive, and they don't feel like it's an either or choice.
Yeah, and I would just add, when I'm sitting in my office at Spelman College, I'm the director of the documentary film program here, and I'm always encouraging the students to think beyond in front of the camera, right? Behind the camera. But also, we need more of us as publicists, as those gatekeepers, because I think that also is part of the issue is that we're not there. And it becomes this rapid fire barrage of requests and all of that kind of thing. But I do want to shout out the 17 women who in this film who showed up. They showed up to have a conversation and to share a little bit of their story, and in the process revealed things that I didn't know. In the filmmaking for the leading women, I wanted to share all the feelings, all the things that happened in that interview room with the audience, and I hope the audience feels that sense of intimacy.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank both of you for having that conversation, which is always nice. And I know I will absolutely say, Reggie, you have always shown up for Black press and for us and made the time. You 1000% correct on that one. And again, this is outstanding work. And I think this is something for everybody to say because there are some conversations being heard that need to fall on certain ears and acknowledge so that the needle can move forward. Again, outstanding. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I think the community and the world will enjoy it as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.